Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Cook It. I'm Ed. Alright, so I'm going to get on to the main dish that I talked about in the other two videos that I put up. And what I'm going to make is a meatloaf. Alright, now I did look at several different recipes. Kind of found one I liked, and I'm just going to kind of make it my own. And we're going to get this put together and get it over on the pan and stick it in the oven. Alright, so I will tell you the ingredients. What we're going to use is 2 pounds of ground beef, 1.5 sleeves of crushed Ritz crackers, a diced onion, to taste, seasonings to taste, a half a cup of milk, and 3 eggs. This meatloaf also has a glaze that goes to it, but that goes on quite a bit into the cooking just before it's done. All right, so meatloaf making is kind of messy. And I don't really like to mix it up with my hands, but I'm going to do it because I guess that's the classic way to do it. All right, so what I'm going to do is put the camera down here on the bowl. One of the bowls, actually. So what you're going to do, let me get a spoon out of here. That's a small spoon. Let me get a big spoon. All right, so you're going to mix the Ritz crackers, the milk, the seasonings, the 3 eggs, and I don't think I mentioned this recipe uses 4 ounces of cheese. Let's get these onions in here. Okay, yeah, so this recipe does use 4 ounces of cheese. I'm probably going to use the whole bag. All right, there's the whole bag of cheese. So what you want to do is get all this mixed up together. And some of it is flying out of the bowl, but I guess that's all right. Now, one thing I have learned by making meatloaf over the years is that typically, what I used to do is put it in a loaf pan. Actually, that's really not a very effective way to make a meatloaf. What you want to do is put it over on a baking sheet, which I'm going to show you that in just a couple minutes. All right, so this is going to go into the meat mixture. So we're just going to pour that on there. Okay, the other thing you want to remember about making a meatloaf is that you just want to make it until it's just mixed. You don't want to like over mix it because that can make the meatloaf kind of tough. All right, so let me rinse my hands off here because that's going to help the meatloaf not stick to my hands. All right, here we go. I promise my hands are clean. This meat is still a little bit frozen, so it is very cold on the hands. All right. This recipe also called for some chopped up bell pepper, green bell pepper, but I didn't have it, so we're not going to put it in. All right, let me get my hands rinsed off again. So you know what? This meatloaf seems like it's a little dry, so let's add a little bit more milk. I think that's better. Like I said, you don't want to overmix it. Okay. So we're going to transfer this over to that baking dish, and I'm going to pull that over so you can see it. And I get my hands rinsed off again. Another thing you can do to keep this from sticking to your hands is to coat your hands with some oil, which I'm going to do right now. All right, so let's turn the pan this way. So what you want to do, you just want to make it into a loaf. Now I did line this baking sheet with foil, and I did spray it with some cooking spray so it doesn't stick, because it's going to have that glaze on there, which would probably be a nightmare getting that off the pan. All right. So this is going to go into the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes. And then you're going to take it out of the oven and put that glaze on it and bake it another 40 to 45 minutes. All right, well, there's my meatloaf masterpiece. Time to rinse off my hands again. All right. Actually, not only did I rinse my hands that time, I washed them off with some soap and water. Okay, so I'm going to get this into the oven, 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and then at the end of 30 minutes, you're going to take it out, put that glaze on there, bake it another 40 to 45 minutes. I'll probably bake it a little bit longer than it says, just because I want to be sure this is done. And another way to tell that it's done, insert a meat thermometer in there, make sure it's in the safe range for beef. All right. Well, okay, folks, I'm going to get this into the oven, and at the end of the time, we'll take it out and we'll see how it turns out. The broccoli casserole is nearing its end. It's probably about an hour and a half left on the timer here. And the cobbler that I made is done, so I'm going to get that out of the oven and let that cool before we dig into it. All right, everybody, this is going to be part one of this meatloaf. And so I'm going to get it in the oven, and we'll be back in just a little bit, and we'll dig into it. Oh yeah, we're going to have some mashed potatoes and gravy with this as well. All right, folks, we'll see you soon.